Let's talk politics. Fox News is America's election headquarters. The latest polling out of Iowa shows two Republican candidates surging. Senators Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio gaining some momentum as terrorism moves to the forefront of the 2016 election. Well, this week's Quinnipiac poll shows Senator Cruz's support doubling in just 4 weeks. He is now in second place, close behind Donald Trump. Senator Marco Rubio is fourth at 13%. This, by the way, the first major poll in the wake of the Paris terror attack. So consider that as we talk about it. Elizabeth Harrington, she is a staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon, and she joins us now with some more insight. Thank you for joining us today, Elizabeth.
Sure.
So we took a look at those numbers. We have Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio gaining, Ben Carson dropping, Trump still in the lead. Who stands to gain the most as Ben Carson's numbers drop?
I think that's definitely Ted Cruz. I think he is the natural heir for Carson supporters, especially in a state like Iowa. This really has been the year of the outsider, and Cruz is the outsider in the Senate. Ever since he's been there, he's been very combative against the establishment. He's very combative with his own leadership. And so I think Cruz is naturally in that position to take the support. Once Paris happened, the focus has turned to more serious issues, national security and terrorism. I think it's shown that Ben Carson is in a little over his head, and so he's going to drop from that. Ted Cruz is very knowledgeable on the issue, as is Marco Rubio. I think you'll see both of them continue to gain.
So another part of the poll, they took several different polls. It showed that terrorism, as you mentioned, and foreign policy, together the two most important issues that voters will consider when they consider who they will vote for, cited by 30% of Republicans as most important. That was followed by jobs and the economy. We spoke yesterday about Democrats who are focusing on jobs and the economy. Do you think that Republicans really do need to zero in on foreign policy at this point?
Yes, because I think it's a major concern for voters. I mean, and all across the world right now. I mean, you have World War III is trending on Twitter as we speak. So clearly it's a big issue that Republicans can contrast themselves with President Obama and with Hillary Clinton, because she's really going to be tied to a lot of the president's foreign policy positions. And this refugee crisis is clearly in the minds of a lot of Republican voters. They're very concerned about it. So I think you'll continue to see Republicans talk about that and try to contrast themselves with the president and Democrats.
All right, differentiating themselves from the president and Hillary Clinton, you said it would be a wise move, but it does appear that the Republican candidates now are possibly lining up to gang up on Trump and his candidacy. There's several ads that are being rolled out or in the works that are anti-Trump, also some tweets that have been going out. Do you think that's wise for them to do, to kind of band together to go up against another Republican candidate, or should they turn their focus to the Democratic candidates and their policies?
I think they should still stick to contrasting with Democrats. It's still a little early. I can understand that a lot of Republican insiders, as they're called, are concerned about Trump. He seems to have carved out his support. It doesn't really matter what he says. I mean, on foreign policy, his supporters still trust him on it, even if he can say a week before Paris happened that we shouldn't be out there, we should let Putin handle ISIS in Syria, and then Paris happens, and then he's seen as this great, leader who's going to win the war on terror. It doesn't really matter what his positions are. He's going to have this support. But at the same time, I think you should just let it play out, see where he is. You don't want to create this war within the own party. Just stick to attacking Democrats who are the main opponent. Anyway.
Overwhelmingly, Trump also still leading when it comes to fighting terrorism, when it comes to immigration. One after another, voters say he's their man. Thank you so much for joining us, Elizabeth. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.